So, good evening, everyone. We start our introductions to the predictive analytics models today. So, this is going to be a very exciting journey and something which the future is looking forward to. So, our knowledge of what predictive analytics is and how it is going to be utilized and how it will be useful for the future is something which is very important. So, this is just a short summary as we proceed further in future. So, there will be a series of lectures on this topic which will be covering and ensuring that you become strong enough as the best analytics personnel who are associated in the industry. So welcome all to this journey. So let us understand with the basics, why do we actually need the predictive analytics? First, it helps us to evaluate the needs, such as what is past data, whether there are any patterns, and whether there are any trends. So this will be something which we will be able to evaluate. And then all such information which we are gathering, which we will be able to use to make future predictions. So that is the most important necessity why these predictive models are established in the market. So the question arises, okay, you have associated, you have told me that this is the need, but then how do I go ahead? So to go ahead, first we need to understand what are the different types of models. Generally, it is said that unless you are a statistician or someone with an engineering background, unless you know maths, you cannot become a good analytics person. But I differ, slightly differ. What I believe in, if you have intelligence enough to understand where something is going, you love data mining, then you can become a successful analytics person. And that is where this journey is going to be taking you further. So let's have an introduction. What are the different types of models? So we can remember this with an acronym called as OTF-C². It stands for Outliers Models. Then you have time series models. Then you have forecast models. And then you have those two C's, that is the classification models and the clustering models. So what are these different types of models? Let's understand. But before understanding those models, let us understand how the models work. So first, whatever these models are, they are always going to be reusable. We can modify them with simple business principles. So the moment we change some principles in the models can give you different outputs. And the algorithms which we are going to be using and which will be training the models upon, they are something which are rewriting. Not necessary that one particular model will be helpful for one particular case scenario. It's not at all necessary. So we may be using multiple models on same data sets. And then we may do trial and error to find one that meets the necessity, the requirement perfectly. And always remember, these models are iterative in nature. What do you mean by iterative? You go back. It's a circle which is going to continuously go ahead. And that is what we have to be understand. Data algorithms, they are the most significant part of this study, since we'll be using them in doing the data mining, the statistical analysis, which will help us in identifying the trends and the patterns. And we'll be incorporating multiple different types of algorithms to accomplish whatever is our targeted necessity. So what are the steps in predictive analytics? Very simple, 7 steps. First will be pre-processing. Once you have done your pre-processing, which data to use, from where to use, you'll be doing the data mining so that you understand, okay, which data is going to be necessary. Then you take the data. Once you have decided which data, then you prepare the data. The data which your organization may be having will not be necessarily in the same format in which you will be requiring to do your analytics further. So you will be doing a multiple transformation activities. So it's like in 3 words, it's going to be LTM. So you load, you transform a new model. So in predictive analytics, your loading part itself is pre-processing and data mining with data preparation. Okay. And then your modeling. So in modeling, you will have data modeling. You will have your data reviews. Then you will deploy the models, right? And then continue the steps again, because you don't know when your final end result is going to be achieved. So this is very simple, the steps which we are going to be learning in our series here and understanding how to deploy, which to deploy. So coming to the models, introductions to the models. First is the Outliers models, very basic model. Basically, it tells us about the apparent data which is there in the data sets, whatever is the anomaly from the normalizations that we are going to be doing, the standard deviations which we are going to be defining. So we'll be identifying them. So all the anomalous data, whether it will be alone or maybe in conjunction with other whatever categories we want to give, be to the concatenations or we want to do the annexations. So all those things will be working together and giving us the anomalous values. They are basically very useful when it comes to retail and banking, because here spotting the abnormalities is important to take care of the fraudulent activities. And it has proven to save millions of dollars to the customers. Secondly, these anomalies is going to be so important that any fraudulent activity in any sector, let it be not only banking, even insurance, they will be very useful to be stopped, or even say retail marketing or online marketing. So it's very useful. And because of that, that anomaly to the anomaly relationship to the anomaly data, they are extremely useful. Okay, so outlier models are very useful for your outliers and anomalous data. Coming to the next, which we saw was the T stands for the time series models, where you have the data in the time. So that is your essential input. So you take a period of periodic data of say 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. So previous all data, past years data you take. So you combine all the multiple data points, create numerical measures, and then using that with your formula, with your models, you predict it over a certain period. This is especially required when the organizations want to evolve certain variables. This definitely outperforms the traditional ways of development because it may predict for several areas at the same time, or projects, even multiple projects at the same time, depending upon the requirement of the organization. So it's very useful to use time series models. They can also account for extraneous factors that may alter variables such as seasons. So you can also get your seasonal trends. Okay, what happens to my seasonal sales of say shirts? So that's something which will be very useful. Coming to the F part, that is the forecast models. They are the most frequent predictive analytics model. Every organization wants to understand what is going to happen next. What is the projection? How much sales? How much profit? How much loss? What do I do? So that is where these forecast models are important. Basically, it handles the measurement value. Various fresh data are going to be coming out of these models based on the past data. This will give us the numerical numbers based on the historical data. And most important factor or say feature of this particular model is that we can enter any number of factors that you want. So it's not only, okay, you look at what is my value of a particular item, how much it is. No, I can also add up the model numbers. I can add up the sales. I can add up the shop locations. I can add up the salesman and all those things to come out with predictive analytics. They are utilized in a variety of sectors and variety of commercial reasons as well. Example, say, what should be the inventory that I should have for my sales in the coming season. So they are often used because they are quite flexible as well. Then coming to the classification models. So classification models, basically they will be classifying the previous data, that is the historical data, and they are employed to retrain the fresh data. They give wide analysis for addressing certain queries, doubts wherever you have. Banking and retail are the areas where classification models are comparatively widely employed as compared to the other models. Because of its obvious nature that you can classify certain information and then use it. The clustering model, here you divide the data sets into different groups based on the shared characteristics of the data. So distinct data sets are created. They are especially beneficial. Importantly, I'll say example would be in the marketing fields, because they would like to do a segmentation of the potential client base, or maybe segmentation for the products, or segmentation of the, even say healthcare industry, where they would like to understand what is the patient care requirements which is happening. The clustering definitely can be hard as well as soft clustering. So basically we will first be defining, understanding how to define the data, whether it would be a soft cluster, or if not, then we would be having it via the hard clustering. Always we have to remember that the soft clustering is something which is going to be useful and giving out the data probability. So conclusion, predictive analytics, they will be producing enormous economic scales. They play an important part in corporate operations, especially in the future. The future is going to be analytics driven. Organizations may use it to take preemptive actions as well in several tasks. So just remember that one movie, Minority Report. Yes, the small reports wherein they could see what is going to happen by a particular person and they were able to prevent the crime. So that is something which was a output of predictive analytics. So ready to be the hero of Minority? Right, great. So that's what we are going to be learning. So excited. So we will be doing it and we'll together ensure that we are able to provide frauds. We are going to help government to protect against the catastrophes. We'll be changing the marketing scenarios and maybe even the polling scenarios, right? So we are going to become an invaluable property in the future. So welcome to the journey and we'll continue to grow together. Thank you all. If you have any questions, any doubts, please do come in touch with me or your parent organization, which has been asking me to do this honorary service on behalf of them. So welcome to the world of analytics. Thank you very much.